Just Mercy. Have you seen that movie? Teresa Morgan was just posting about it.
No. I recall having heard something about it, but I don't know anything about it.
Maybe we can ask Teresa about if you watched it. Yeah, if that was last night or tonight.
How did the chat go yesterday with John?
Good.
I thought about coming because I probably could have still made it, but I thought it would be a nice opportunity for John to get a little of the spotlight.
No, it was good. I thought it was good. There weren't a whole lot of questions yesterday.
Half of the art of the Fireside Chat is just being able to come up with something to say without any moving, just without any provocation. What have I been thinking about lately? Gardening.
It's true. You can share your garden.
I'm really upset about that flower.
Yeah.
I don't understand what's wrong with it. It looks like it got poisoned. Okay, so
An
we
enemy
can
has done
complain
this.
about it. I'm very upset about it.
Yeah, I know. It's true.
Really?
An enemy has done this. Holy cow. Holy cows. Don't add to queue. I don't want to add you to queue. I want you on.
Do you remember those early days of the pandemic that we were trying to get on Twitch?
Yes. Did you ever find our videos?
No, I have no idea. We could have been posting on Twitch all this time, and I have no idea.
Well, yes, we are not, but
Oh, good.
can we turn the
Oh, we turned that switch off? Good. That switch for Twitch?
Twitch? How do you know she's a Twitch?
Ha! Dun 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 dun. Good morning, Teresa. Good morning, Bonnie.
Has she watched that movie last night or tonight?
Father Kent is wondering, Teresa, whether or not you watched that movie Just Mercy, right? When did you watch it? Was it last night?
Or is you watching it tonight?
Are you watching it tonight? I don't know anything about this, so.
We got a pretty good blockade going on
We
here.
do. What do we have the house set at?
73? Is it too cold?
No, I'm sweating right now. Almost.
I turned it down even. I'll turn it down with another dot.
But I've been warm since after Mass because I was standing outside of Mass talking to a couple people for a while, so. And it's starting to get to the point where that's pretty toasty out there. Especially when you're wearing like 4 layers.
That's right. You're all cassocked up.
Always. That's tonight, Teresa says.
Okay.
I don't know anything about that.
I like to hear how it is. I heard it was, I saw a review on it. I heard it was okay. It was good. Did you ever see that movie Concussion?
Yeah. No, I heard about it though.
Which I thought was okay. It had some good points, but I thought it was kind of slow and needed some directing thing. It's kind of what I've heard a little bit about this movie. It's still worth a watch, I think, but it's maybe... I think I heard it was not as good as it could have been, I think.
Really? Okay. But, well, you know, I often wonder about movies like that. Whether it's Concussion or whether it's this movie, which I don't even... Is it about race? Just Mercy?
Yeah, well, you're right. I think it's about the justice system in how that's particularly slanted and everything.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's an important issue. Don't get me wrong.
No, absolutely, yeah. Well, I often wonder about movies like that, or books like that, I think often themes like that are far more effective when they're part of a story that's not trying to prove that particular theme.
Sure.
Just like Christian movies.
Right.
Like there are some fantastic movies that have fantastic Christian themes in them, and then there are Christian movies where it's just like, what? This.
I forgot to watch Unplanned during my Amazon
I've never
Prime.
seen Unplanned either.
It was free on.
I heard it's really good, but I don't know. Again, I have.
Should we start the show?
Oh, sure.
We're like chatting already. So
Yeah, my bad.
Let's get. Because we had this big old thing on our faces, so I thought
Yeah.
take that down. Hello, welcome
Hello,
to chat.
everyone.
We just started chatting already. We got some good conversations going here. So welcome to the Fireside Chat. The little banner says, "Ann Seminarian John Donart. Look,
Is gone.
he's not here. He was over there in your spot yesterday."
Mm-hmm. I
And-
inhabit. No, pardon me. How? I was gonna say I've inhabited his body, but that actually wouldn't work. That wouldn't. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So it's been a while since we've actually just had the two of us. I think
It's true. Mm-hmm.
because we had several with Deacon Anthony.
Throwback Wednesday.
Throwback Wednesday,
Uh-huh.
way back Wednesday.
Way back when we were deep pandemic, there was no hope.
So we were just talking a
Good
little bit about
morning,
movies. Someone had posted about this movie Just Mercy, which is, I guess, free for right now, and I'd like to see it. I've heard, it seems like I heard mixed reviews back when it came out or something, just basically saying it was good, but maybe not as good as it could be. And you were talking about how sometimes that's the case with Christian movies, and we were just talking about Unplanned. I never saw that movie either.
Right. The problem that I had with Unplanned, and I haven't actually seen it, so I can't say this, but everybody talked about how you had to see a really terrible scene in it, and sometimes I think it's important that we don't fall into the trap of saying that something is immoral because it's icky.
Mm.
You know, like, well, it was so gross to watch. Well, that doesn't mean it's immoral. So, leg surgery is immoral. Leg surgery is gross. I don't want to see the inside of my leg.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so we have to, with that particular movie, my question was always, does it actually talk about the immorality of abortion, or is it just showing that it's icky? Because if it's just showing it's icky, then it's not actually accomplishing anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and I'm not saying that that's about that particular movie or anything like that, but that's just, we can't fall into the trap, I think, of saying, ooh, this looks gross, therefore it's wrong.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Because some things are gross, but still okay.
Right.
Brain surgery is gross. I don't want anybody playing with my brain. You know what I mean?
But some things are also icky and they're immoral. So
Exactly. Right. So.
But
Mm-hmm.
my Amazon Prime has expired, so I had the free trial of the 30-day trial or whatever. So I wonder if I can get into that to see the Just Mercy. So I didn't get to see the Unplanned.
Mm-hmm.
I missed my opportunity. I was too busy watching Man in High Castle, I guess.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
While I was scraping the ceiling, and then we were watching the Foils War, but
Yes, we were.
it has expired, so
Therefore, it is gone.
it is gone. I can buy the episodes,
No more.
but
No more. Evermore.
so that's expired, and I tried to cancel my CBS All Access yesterday.
Okay.
So I clicked the cancel subscription because it was supposed to end today,
Mm-hmm.
and then they said wait, we'll give you 50% off for 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, all right. So I.
Oh, my weak will.
Well,
No, I'm teasing.
I mean, $9.99 a month for another streaming service when we've already got
Well, yeah.
Hulu and we got
Well,
Disney Plus.
we used to complain about cable channels.
I
And how
know.
it used to be that you'd want these great, this package, but you get this package for another $30, and this. We're just getting that now with all
I know.
different channels online.
You're supposed to destroy cable, not join them.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Oh my.
But yes. So but anyway. But $9.99 a month is a bit much. But $9.99 for 2 months seemed like it was reasonable. So it's $4.99 a month for 2 months. Then I can finish out the Star Trek Discovery series, and I kind of like to see that Twilight Zone. Has anyone seen that Twilight Zone?
Oh, is there a reboot of Twilight Zone?
Yeah, it's on CBS All Access.
I didn't know that.
I kind of like to watch them because
Oh.
I dig those kind of thought-provoking shows.
Uh-huh.
Netflix has a thought-provoking show that's kind of in the spirit of Twilight Zone, but it's the language is really bad, but there's really some good thoughts in there. I kind of like to see that Twilight Zone. But so anyway, I've got CBS All Access. I think for another couple months. I guess I could still cancel and only get $4.99 for this month. But anyway, so I try to do that, but too many
Right.
streaming services.
Unplanned shows how the woman experienced and how it changed the person's mind about managing the abortion agency. Yeah, that's what I've heard, and I think it's, from what I hear, it seems like a good movie.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it personally, so I'm just talking about that one particular scene where they show something and everybody says, "Oh, you have to see this scene." I'm like, okay, I don't know if you actually have to see that scene because that's, yeah.
I don't know what scene that is,
Mhm.
but
So, anyways, I have a problem.
do tell.
Would you like to know what my problem is?
Always.
I've been gardening out back.
True. That's not a problem.
And I've been doing a lot of weeding. I was a mint murderer. I killed so much
Yes. Mint murderer.
mint. And I planted some flowers. And they are all doing well except for one. Chrysanthemum.
The chrysanthemum.
It's dying. And I'm very upset about it.
Yes, I could not. He was inconsolable
Mhm.
yesterday
Mhm.
about this. I mean, he was weeping. I mean,
Well, that's
he was
not
trying to
true.
get the tears to. I think trying to get the tears to bring it back to life. The tears of the father brings the plant
Oh,
back
if
to
I ever
life.
think of you, O plant, let my right hand wither, let my tongue cleave to my mouth. That's a quote from a psalm.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to it. It started wilting, and then its leaves started turning black.
It reminded me of my raspberry plants. Remember my raspberry plants that I bought, and then they wilted when I got them here, and then they just kind of died. So I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I'm really confused by it. It almost looks like they got poisoned.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it looks like. It looks like they got poisoned, but I don't know how.
Have you checked on it this morning?
No, I haven't looked
Maybe
yet.
it's back to life,
I hope so.
back to reality.
I'm really upset by this.
Yeah, I know.
It's shaken my inner confidence.
I know.
Well, no. The other ones are fine. 4 out of 5 ain't bad, but
I have almost not a problem. I have a hammock that my cousin brought me back from Mexico that has been sitting in this cabinet for the past 2 years because I couldn't figure out how to hook it up. But they're replacing our deck out here. It's really quite lovely. And I asked them, could they have some posts for the hammock? And so now the hammock is back up, and I've got a hammock spot,
he does have a hammock spot.
which I'm very excited about. It's a lovely hammock. It's one of those things that is shaped this way, and it hangs on the posts.
Right. So what he's saying is it looks like a hammock, and
Well, I'm just saying that I don't want to say what it also looks like,
No,
because
yeah,
it would
no.
be because I realized that was a bad phrase yesterday.
very bad. That's not what he used a phrase that he did not realize what it meant.
And
Made me
the
very
two young kids were laughing at me.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
It made me very uncomfortable.
but it yes, it has that shape like that fruit.
Mm-hmm. So, but we got that.
Didn't mean anything by it, but seriously didn't know. But anyway, one of the posts is a little bit wobbly, so I'm gonna ask them, maybe we need to get that fixed a little bit, because I would be really uncomfortable if that post broke and collapsed.
Right, especially because the hammock is kind of hanging over the edge of the porch, so you wouldn't just fall on the porch.
I know, you'd hit the
fall on
corner and then hit the floor.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know what that is a recipe for?
Disaster?
Long-term
Pain?
back
Hospital.
problems.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Chrysanthemums like a little cooler weather. That's why they're off. Are you overwatering?
I don't know.
That's
Maybe.
usually-
Usually the culprit. Okay. I'll stop trying to give them liquid sunshine.
Yeah. Liquid sunshine on my flowers.
See,
all
I
right.
have 2 chrysanthemums. One is doing really well. The other one that's sitting right next to it is doing terribly. That's the confusing part.
Well, they're two different breeds or something. They're
There's
related,
different
right?
breeds, It's
Yeah.
true. Mm-hmm.
Let me go over before I forget. Oh, it smells so good. Coming over to the camera. Here we are. Today we are drinking Lavazza again. This came from my sister Kristen, and I am very much enjoying. It is perfetto, and yes, it is. So it's delicious. So that is the coffee of the day. That's what we are drinking today. And then I'd just like to say a shout out to my nieces, to Rachel and Rosalie and Laura. I hope you got some swing time in yesterday. I hope you get some swing time in today. It should be a lovely day for swinging. And Dryling girls, I hope you're doing some bubble drawing or something, whatever it was. I hope you're having a good day as well. So happy Wednesday to everybody, and we'll go back to the show. So we were talking a little bit about kind of plans going forward. We have a meeting today speaking of which, also, if you have any thoughts that you would like me, if I have an opportunity, which I may not, we have a meeting with all the priests over Zoom with the bishop today, talking about how things are going.
Yeah, and you know what? I have to tell you, those meetings are hilarious. I love those meetings.
Okay.
On like the comedy side, to see all the priests try to make Zoom work is exciting.
It's true.
Yeah, there's always one or two that have no idea what's going on. There's a couple that leave their camera on when they shouldn't leave their camera on. It is quite humorous.
We had a good sideshow last time.
We did.
And then you can privately chat with people and kind of laugh. It's kind of like passing notes back in school.
It is true.
Or sending texts to each other. But they are pretty humorous. And
I have to be gentle here because in 50 years I'm going to be one of those priests.
Sure, right.
I always think about this thinking about like what will I be in 50 years, complaining to the youths about how I just want to use my Facebooks and I can't find my Facebooks anymore. Like in my day we used to use a mouse, and a mouse just you clicked on the Facebooks and it brought the Facebooks up. Nowadays you got to control it with your eyebrows or something like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Anyway, so we have a meeting with all priests today, and
he's trying to be serious, and I'm trying to do funny. I'm sorry.
No, it's great. This is what we do here. So, although sometimes it's the reverse. I don't know. But if you have any, I just want to get this out there so that people can type in the comments
yes.
if they have any questions, concerns, anything that you would like. If there's an opportunity, I can't guarantee that there would be. He's trying to get just hear how things are going in the parishes with the opening of masses again to the public. We are opening for the first time today for Sunday masses. We were doing First Communion masses. That was our starter. So we haven't really had a full test of, for the open public. But before I forget to say, at noon today, if you are wanting to attend Mass on Sunday, the Sign Up Genius link goes live. And we're going to see how that goes. We have 125 spots at the 8 o'clock and 125 spots at the 10 o'clock. Currently, our plan is to do those two masses as well as the 12:15 Spanish Mass. But there's going to be a different system for that. You're going to talk with Miguel Hernandez. He's going to be organizing that because we were concerned in the Hispanic community whether people would be able to use or be familiar or we would be able to reach everyone through Sign Up Genius.
Yeah.
So that goes live today at noon. And so sign up there. It'll be on Facebook, Flocknote website. The link will be there. If it gets overpacked, and overpacked real quick, we still have time that we could talk about the possibility of adding the Sunday 5 o'clock Mass back into that. That would be the third phase, and then the last one would be the Saturday. So that's what we got planned. So 10 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and then 5 o'clock Sunday, and then 5 o'clock Saturday would be the third option. And there's a couple reasons for that. One is because we're doing the drive-through confessions, and so that could be kind of a little bit of a little hairy to have people coming to Mass.
Right. And the drive-through confessions are really well attended right now.
They are.
And it can be hard to predict how long they're going to take.
They are. They can be.
And because before the pandemic, it was only one of us hearing confessions most every Saturday. I mean, often one of us would be here at the rectory and we'd be kind of on call in case it looked like the confession times would need an extra priest. But now we have two priests who are hearing confessions for the full hour.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. We
hour
love
plus.
that.
Yeah.
We love that. But it just makes it so it's a little more challenging scheduling wise.
And you've noticed, I mean, if you've watched the 5 o'clock rosary that we try to do, we are rarely ready to go by 5 o'clock because we're just, bringing in all of the things
Sometimes
back in.
It goes till 4:50 and then they're running inside.
Right. So anyway, so that's one of the reasons that we're delaying the 5 o'clock Mass. I'm enjoying doing the rosary on Saturday evenings. I'm enjoying the Spanish talks that we're doing at 6 o'clock. We sometimes have a concert Saturday night. So all of those factors make it for good reason to wait on the Saturday Mass for now. But again, if we're packed, Mass gets priority. We'll have to figure out what that would look like. But that's kind of the third one down the line. So 10 and 8, 5 o'clock Sunday. Next one to be added would be the Saturday 5. So. Also, by the nature of the Saturday Mass, it's meant to be an anticipatory Mass for those who can't make the Sunday Mass. So really, the Church envisions that we do attend Mass on Sunday.
Right.
And so it doesn't make too much sense for me at this point when Mass is still not obligatory, and I want to stress that it's not obligatory. You do not have to come to Mass.
Right.
You do not have to watch Mass even. It's not obligatory. You still have to honor the Lord's Day, but you do not have to do that by attending Mass even virtually. But it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to have an anticipatory Mass for a non-obligatory Mass. It would make sense to me if all three of those other spots are filled, and there's still a need and a want and an interest. Well, then we have another spot to keep our numbers down, to add another Mass.
To spread things out. But that actually reaches on to a slightly interesting point. Can I
please
do a little diversion here?
Go ahead, divert.
So one of my liturgical pet peeves that people do say,
they'll
call it the Vigil Mass for Sunday.
Oh, here you go. He's gonna get nerdy.
So people will call it the Vigil Mass, but it's actually not a Vigil Mass.
Right.
It is a Mass of anticipation.
Right.
So we're anticipating the day that's to come. Now, Father Ashmore, why would you care about that?
Father Ashmore, why would you care about that?
Exactly. That's a good question. I care about it because in the tradition of the Church, Vigil Masses had their own readings, had their own propers, and they were traditionally penitential. So generally, Christmas Eve, December 24th, was actually a day of penance. It was a day of fasting.
Right. Yeah, right.
And
that's hard to imagine, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. We kind of, because in the Church, there's always been the balancing of feasting and fasting.
Right.
So there's been the idea of we're preparing for a great feast, so we're going to fast in preparation for it. So on December 24th, you'd fast for the day, and then you'd celebrate by feasting on the 25th.
Right.
The Pentecost, the Vigil of Pentecost, was traditionally a day of some element of fasting. So there, I believe, there would be a creed. There would be a Gloria said at the Vigil Mass, but there wasn't a full creed, so it wasn't like a full preparation. There was some element of penance going on beforehand. So when we talk about Vigil Masses, traditionally in the Church, they aren't as joyful, and they have their own set of Mass propers, which means there are prayers and readings, and it's its own particular celebration. But the Sunday Mass of Anticipation, when it's done on Saturday, it doesn't have any of those things. We're just taking the Sunday liturgy and doing it Saturday evening by permission from the Church.
Right.
And the Church only gave us permission to do that in the 1960s or so, maybe 50s, I'm not sure, but 50s, 60s, somewhere around there, particularly for workers. So it's when, the idea was really like factory workers, industrial workers may not be able to get to Mass on Sunday morning, so let's try to do it Saturday evening to anticipate what's to come.
Right. Yep.
So that's one of my pet peeves. You know what grinds my gears? Calling it Vigil Mass. No, it's not a Vigil Mass. It's an anticipatory Mass.
It's true. I try to be clear on my my language when I say that as well. Interesting fact, also though, I don't know if people know this, and you seemed a little bit surprised about this past Saturday, that there is a big old Pentecost Vigil Mass, and
there's like 5 readings as an option.
So the idea for the Vigil Mass on Pentecost is meant to be like the Easter Vigil, where you have all those readings, and you're anticipating, or you're anticipating the resurrection. You're participating in this Vigil Mass with all of these readings on the night before or the morning of. This is the most proper, I suppose. Pentecost has a similar thing, and I've actually done that at Our Lady of Unity, especially in the charismatic movement. We had a large charismatic. It did a lot of charismatic Hispanic ministry there at a lot of the parishes, especially in KCK. And there was this big Pentecost vigil celebration that they were there all night singing praises and songs and invoking the Holy Spirit and talks. And then they had the big old Mass. And I think that we did maybe not all of the readings, but a lot of those readings similar to the Easter Vigil. So it was,
that's fascinating.
It was pretty cool.
I wonder if there's some penitential element of that, because here's why I'm asking. So when I say the traditional Easter Vigil, I'm talking prior to 1954.
Sure.
A moment. So there were a set of reforms in 1955, then there was a set of reforms in 1962, then there was a set of reforms in 1969. So these were all, but in that particular liturgy, which really existed for like 1,500 years, it remained really standard up until 1955. The Easter Vigil, you would wear 2 sets of vestments. You would wear violet for the beginning part of it, then you'd switch into white vestments, and you'd wear white for the rest of it, because it's that we are penitential for the first vigil aspect of it. Once it reaches Easter, you switch to the... So I wonder if there's some element of that they're trying to pull in with the 5 readings or something like that. I wonder. I'm sure you don't change vestments because they, with the 1970 missal, the missal that we use commonly today, ordinary form is also called. They don't like the changing of vestments as much. That used to happen a lot more. But isn't that fascinating? You'd wear violet for half of it, and then you'd put on white because we've stopped. We were penitential, and now we're celebratory. So let's get on our white vestments.
Yeah, no, I did not know that. That's very interesting. Did I tell you how I used to do 2 vigils?
Yes.
2 Easter vigils?
Sounds awful.
It was pretty awful. It was the weirdest thing. Jesus is risen, and then Jesus is dead again. So it's very strange. Back at Our Lady of Unity, we had 2 churches, so we could do that. So I had a 8 o'clock and a 10 o'clock. An 8 o'clock English and a 10 o'clock Spanish Easter vigil. So
wow.
So yeah, it was like an hour and a half, hour 45 minute mass, and then I would drive to the other church, which was already full, to do the other mass, and then start with all them readings again, and that exultet and everything, and it's like,
wow, that's exhausting.
It was exhausting. So
Jesus is risen. No, he's not. He's risen. Okay.
So I will not do that again. So I know not everyone is always thrilled that we have our bilingual liturgies during the Triduum, and some kind of wish that we'd have it separate. It's just not a real great way to do that, and I'll put my foot down. I am not doing two vigils again.
Right.
2 Easter vigils.
And the church actually says that those 3 masses are the most important masses throughout the whole year, and she actually suggests that if one particular community can't do it well, for whatever reason, maybe not enough ministers and not enough musicians, whatever it may be, she suggests that parishes get together and celebrate one.
Right.
So, especially in some rural communities, I've often wondered why we don't have more of that happening. Like why we don't have more, not only parishes that are in a clusters together, but if there are 2 parishes that have 2 different pastors, I've wondered it might be good if we want a really one big bash to get everybody together to celebrate.
Sure.
Now, I don't want to get into taking Easter Vigil away from you or anything like that, but.
Well, theoretically, and I don't have too much of memory of what I did 10 years ago at Sacred Heart in Sabetha, but I would imagine that a lot of those would kind of fill up, actually, because a lot of those churches aren't particularly huge.
Yeah, right.
And so some of them are bigger than others, but it'd be a little bit packed, which is not a fun idea, but and that's a long drive for some to go from one church to another. So already some of those clusters are, when I was at Wetmore, it was a 23-minute drive to get to Wetmore. So so there is that. So if you have any questions, you could email me. We're doing that at 11 o'clock today, or you can put it in the chat, whatever, about how we're doing masses here. Yesterday I filmed 3 videos. I filmed a video for how things are going to be going for the general population when we're back at Mass. Particular instructions for Eucharistic ministers, and particular instructions for ushers/hospitality ministers. I need to do some editing on those videos, but hopefully those will be posted as well today. So I know that people have a lot of concerns about how we are doing things and how we are coming back into Mass, and some have expressed some concern about some inconsistencies that we seem to be having, at least as you're watching it on the video, and we're trying to address those things and doing the best that we can. We really try to be very safe and secure, and having lots of consistencies. But we're trying to make sure that we're sanitizing regularly, wearing masks at least for communion. Now I've started, and we'll see, and we have this meeting with the Archbishop, because one of the questions I had was when we were talking afterwards is the instruction does say that the priests should not wear the mask during the liturgy for the sacred of the rite, and I asked the question. Unfortunately, I submitted it too late, but Father John Riley responded to my question about can we wear a mask during the Mass, and his answer was it doesn't strictly forbid it. It still doesn't necessarily recommend it, but I'm going to try wearing the mask for a while, just because I know that's been a concern that's expressed, and I can. I don't know if because it does fog up the glasses,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure if you can do that.
I have enough trouble reading the missile as it is.
Right. So if you see an inconsistency between the two of us, we're both trying to be very safe, but it is really hard to have that mask on with glasses and read.
And as I
all those
celebrate
things.
the mass, you'll notice that I'm using another veil during the mass. That's one way to try to.
Yeah. Right.
We have everything covered on the altar, so the only thing that could be really receiving my spit, one might say, is my host, and I'm the only person receiving that
Right.
host generally.
So mostly I'm doing it because I can, as a solidarity with the parishioners who have to do it as well, and y'all hate it, and so I'll hate it with you. So that's mostly my thought, because I felt it. Here's what I felt in my heart. Maybe I get a little bit over conscious, or what I really have a sensitivity when I see like clericalism or like we're
Right.
above the law or something. And so when I was watching the ordinations, for instance, none of the seminarians or priests or anybody had masks on.
Right.
Which again, the instructions say if you are serving in a liturgical ministry, you don't need to have a mask. But it struck me as just a little bit odd when I was watching the video.
Right.
All of the clerical people don't have to wear masks, but all the lay people do, and that just struck me as a little bit odd.
Yeah,
so.
but I think we have to, at the same time, recognize that some people see the priest wearing the mask, and they because the priest has the position of Jesus, the head at that point, they see the priest in a certain way as it being the strange idea of like Jesus is. It looks odd if the image of Jesus is somebody who is wearing this mask
Sure.
to speak. So
Yeah,
I mean, I think
grant that
I've
too.
heard that like the idea that the priest in the mass who's standing in the person of Jesus Christ ahead has a mask on. The image seems odd.
That's a fair thing. I'll grant that.
I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not saying necessarily it's bad, but I'm saying there's different things to balance throughout here. You
right.
know what I mean? And again, I'm just trying to bring up the points. I'm not trying to come to a conclusion at this moment. Just
And I think, I mean, my sense too is, I mean, we do have two different priests, and we don't always agree on everything. We don't see eye to eye on everything, and that's fine. We want to be on the same page, I think, and I think we're on the same page, really. But you know, we have certain different liturgical practices, the both of us. Look, I have no cassock on. You have cassock on. I don't have cassock, so I had no cassock. You have cassock. I don't have cassock. We have just different styles there, and I think we can also have different styles about the mask thing. And I think that's a fair point about, you know, what does it say if Jesus is wearing a mask, and that's fair because we are meant to be an image of Jesus Christ there. But then you know, I think that's a fair thing. But I also think my thing is a fair thing about the solidarity with the folks. So
right.
Hopefully, as you are watching the two of our masses, you can say, "Oh, that's good. Oh, that's also good." And so I think variety is also good for people to see that in the church and in the priests. So
one thing I will beg is patience, because I know I've made a few mistakes about wearing masks here and there. It's really hard to keep track of everything.
Sure.
When you're standing up there and you're standing there trying to make sure that everything's covered right, make sure that you're standing at the proper location, make sure that you wipe down your hand, you know, you wipe down your hands at the right time, make sure. And then you're supposed to pray along with that.
It is tricky.
It's really tough. So we're trying the best I can. So
Yeah.
if you see me make a mistake or something, presume that it was just an honest mistake that I forgot at that moment because I was hopefully thinking about our Lord.
Right. Very good. So see, there we go in the comments. Deborah says, "I would rather you didn't wear a mask," and Jesus says, "I believe Jesus would be wearing a mask." So I think we will hopefully provide a nice combination here.
Right. But the thing
but that could change
Yeah.
to at our meeting too, because
Yeah.
they might say, "No, Archbishop says don't wear a mask."
But I'll respond to that just by pointing out that the mask is intended to stop any spittle from coming out within a 6 feet region. And so there's nobody within me within a 6 foot
Sure.
region. So it during the mass, it actually provides no practical help. It's
Sure.
only a symbolic thing on Father Kent's part.
Right.
So, but so that's why I would say, like, I understand your point, Ginger, but I don't think I don't think that has the same practical application there. That so a symbolic move is very different than a practical move.
Don, yeah, we're good. We're good for baptisms. So, yep, there's no. I don't think we have any instruction not to do baptisms.
No, we've been able to do baptisms this whole time.
Yeah.
We were talking early into this, and what are our lines as a parish? How to respond to these things? Basically, when it came to the sacraments, they have to do with salvation. We were still required to do all those.
Sure.
Baptism we had to do. Confession we still had to we want to do.
Right.
Baptism and confessions were kind of our basic. Like we will not stop doing these.
And anointings. In the case, especially in the case of death. Right?
Exactly.
Which, by the way, that's another topic that we probably don't want to go into too much. But the anointing of the sick really is meant for those who have serious medical issues that could be life-threatening. That's what the anointing of the sick. Mm-hmm. Or before like a surgery, which could be life-threatening because things happen, in surgery and. So that's something also to keep in mind.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Because sometimes people come up, well, I have a little sickness in my brain or whatever, or I have this trouble or whatever. I'll go to get the anointing of the sick, and that's not really the intention, I don't think, of the sacrament.
Right. The sacrament of anointing of the sick is for those diseases which have a connection to death. So if they could lead to death in some way, then that's when the sacrament is now appropriate. Mm-hmm. If it's I have a hangnail, not as appropriate. But that doesn't necessarily mean that just because today in the medical community we can take care of it easily, doesn't mean that it's not a true illness.
Right.
So there are some illnesses that are very easy to take care of today in the medical community, but if they weren't taken care of, they would still lead to major illness or death. So
yeah, that's a good point too.
That's not saying that only do it if you're thinking you're dying. No, not at all.
Right.
But it's just think of it like if I didn't get this treated, what would this lead to?
Right.
And that could even be certain mental illnesses too.
Sure, fair enough.
Yeah. Extreme depression that may have some sort of idea of like suicidal ideation, that sort of thing. I think that's matter for.
Right. So that was not the best example there because mental illness already has enough. So that was not. Let's scratch that from the record. I'll delete that. No, I can't delete.
Yeah, Terry, exactly. So you say, what if someone is feeling suicidal?
Yeah, right. So it was a bad example. I'm sorry. I take it back. I rescind my comment. I should have said a stub toe. That's what I should have said.
Hangnail's my.
Hangnail's better.
Yeah, exactly.
So I misspoke.
Mm-hmm. But I think that's a really good example though, that depending on the particular case, because we don't want to say in every case it's appropriate because it may not be appropriate in certain cases, especially with mental illness. It can be tough. But if the person with whom you're working, if the psychologist or counselor thinks that it could be helpful, I don't think the anointing of the sick is inappropriate at all in that case.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And we don't want to. I don't want to say yes in all cases because that could also lead to greater psychological issues too.
Yep.
So it's always a balance.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see how that meeting goes with the Archbishop, and some procedures could even change, but. I'm just trying to respond to everyone. I want everyone to feel comfortable and safe when they come to Mass, and I've heard from some that and from the medical community that say I should wear a mask. Then some others in the medical community say I shouldn't wear a mask. So, but the rule, like it or not, for going to church is that you have to wear a mask. So it doesn't matter to me so much if you don't like it. That's the rules, and I can't do anything about that because that's the particular rules for the diocese. And so, if you come to Mass and you are attending Mass and not fulfilling a liturgical role, you need to wear a mask. And so I'm just trying to accommodate that as well, and just so I can just feel with the community as well. So, but we do have to wear a mask during communion. That's true when we distribute communion,
and that's because we are then 6 feet.
We are 6 feet
away from someone.
Right. So. Do I think it might be a little bit overkill for me to wear a mask when, yes, no one's in that 6 feet radius? I do. But if that helps people to feel more secure, and I can, and it's not fogging up my glasses so I can't read or whatever, at this point, I am willing to do that. So that's my kind of thought. So again, I think it's a little bit of overkill, but I am also not a medical professional. So what do I know? So,
yeah, and I think it's important, too, during this time, to continue to try to do your best to keep updated on medical research.
Yes.
Because what we believed about the disease 4 weeks ago is not what we believe about the disease today, because there are new There are new studies coming out of China, and I know of one that involves like 1,500 persons who had it, and so that is starting to adjust how we are handling things. So,
Sure.
4 to 6 weeks ago, there were some presumptions. Today we know some other things. We're just trying to respond to what we know at the particular moment.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there is that. So we have this meeting today at 11, and I don't know how long it's going to go. So there will likely, or yeah, we just can't. We're not going to have the rosary today, and
Yeah.
we're going to. We are finding that it's getting harder and harder to maintain. So at this time, we're going to suspend the rosary. I know that people have been really appreciating that rosary, and we've been doing it for 2-3 months or whatever regularly. And I think that just as we are evolving in this pandemic time, I think we just need to let that go for now. But we encourage you to pray on your own. And I would encourage the School of Faith Rosary by Michael Schurzlick. I have found that to be very good, and that's a great resource that already exists, so we don't really need to duplicate our efforts on that. So I would encourage people to do that. I think it served a very good purpose during especially during the lockdown and the stay-at-home orders. Mm-hmm. But the other thing is our offices are open now Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8:30 to 12:30.
And if you'll notice, when were we doing the rosaries? Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
At noon. And we were doing it later, but then that's also just one more thing to make sure that we get everything set up. So we did consolidate the schedule a little bit so that we could have some more freedom to meet with people or whatever. But as things are getting opened up now, and as we really should be at the office like sometimes, and sometimes when Susan is there, we're going to suspend the rosary for now. Because the other thing is we have the Chrism Mass on Friday, which I'm excited about. Mm-hmm. So that's on Friday. It was supposed to be the Tuesday of Holy Week, and now we're finally having the Chrism Mass. That'll be on Friday at 11 o'clock at Sacred Heart in Shawnee. Probably the reason is that because that's a very large church, and we can all get very separated. The Chrism Mass will be just for the priests. We do need to have a Chrism Mass because we need our oils. We are still using the oils from last year, and there's supposed to be new oils for confirmations and for baptisms and anointing the sick, and we're still using 2019 oil, so that needs to be blessed. And
sure, and we're running out too.
What?
We're starting to run out of anointing the sick oil.
Oh, we are. Now we do have, there's a stash back here of oil the sick anyway, but...
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah, the whole...
Oh. Is Luke guarding it?
Luke is guarding it.
Wow.
Did you see my beautiful crochets that my mom made? I shared those the other day. But yeah, here's the stash. Oil of the Sick 2019.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, I forgot that was up there.
Okay. I've not been concerned. I have my own oil. I needed to refresh it, so I refreshed it the other day. But
Ebola is back in the Congo. I saw some sort of report about that.
Really?
That doesn't seem to be good.
No, not good at all.
No. Mm-hmm. So anyway, so then we're not going to also have a chat on Friday. So I think we're just not going to have a chat on Friday. That gives us, so we don't have to rush out of here to make it up to Sacred Heart and Shawnee. Theoretically, we could have a brief chat, but look, we're already at 10:40 right now, and probably just better just not to have the chat on Friday. So, but what I think what I'll post though is a retro episode of Tuesday Night Live. So if you've watched Tuesday Night Live, that's a show that I usually do with Michael Sheeran, and last night we had it with Michael and his wife Sarah. And it was really nice. We were talking about the family and the domestic church, because we've been going through the catechism, the commandments, and so we reached the fourth commandment, honor thy father and the mother. And interestingly, in the catechism, it talks not just about, because I think we normally think of that commandment of do the dishes when your parents ask you to, and that's honor your father and your mother. But the catechism really opens that up to what does it mean of the responsibilities of parents, what does that mean of the responsibilities of children, and also the responsibility of the church in society, like Mother Church, right, in society, and the rights of citizens also. So that seems, at least at first glance, that's a weird place to put talking about citizenship. It also talks about when can we rightfully protest and things about. So it's very apropos. So I encourage you to read in your catechism and watch last night's episode if you'd like about the rights and duties of citizens. That occurs interestingly in the fourth commandment part of the Catechism. So.
Oh, fascinating. Okay.
Yeah, so and I hadn't really realized that. I knew it was in the Catechism, but I usually when I'm looking things up, I'm like, oh, there it is. But I forget the context of where it is. But it's in the context of honor your father and your mother. So, anyway, that was from last night. So, but anyway, all that to say is, last year, about this time, a few weeks ago, I suppose, we had our first episode with Father Ashmore, and he was just Deacon Ashmore at the time, and he came on, made a special appearance on Tuesday Night Live, and he had never ever been to Good Shepherd before.
It was the first time. Yeah, I came in, I got lost on the way in.
So it should be pretty cute to watch. I'm gonna repost that on Friday. You can watch it before then. You have to do a little bit of searching, but
Times were so much simpler back then, weren't they? We didn't have a pandemic.
That's right.
We didn't have protests.
I know.
I was just a little deacon, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. What am I now?
So I kind of want to watch that episode again just to hear what he was saying a year ago about all these things that he was excited about doing ministry and all these things at Good Shepherd, and so. Then you were at the all-school mass the next day.
That's true.
I think it was the last day. It was the last day of school.
Yeah. And Father Dan said it, didn't he?
Right.
I
Is
think
that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I believe.
I don't recall, but back when we had school at a school building, and there was all the festivities going on, and so So anyway, I'll post that hopefully this Friday for those of you longing and missing the fireside chat. In place of that, this Friday I'll post that.
Okay.
No more rosaries.
No more. But please continue to pray it on your own.
Yes.
That's one thing that we were hoping with this was to help to form the habit of praying the rosary, and we always knew that would have to stop at some point.
Ooh. That is a good thought there, Joanne. Mm-hmm. It's First Friday. Let me think about that. I think that I could. It's my turn for Mass on Friday. We could just do it right after Mass. Well, we'll do it because people will be there anyway, and that's how people would be accustomed to.
Yeah.
So in place, since we wouldn't be having to rush back for the fireside chat, we'll have to discuss this off camera, but I think that I can at least commit to praying the rosary after the Mass on Friday in the church.
I think that's reasonable for me also.
Yeah. Because we won't be rushing off to fireside chat, and then that gives us plenty of time to get to the...
Absolutely.
That's a fair thought. So thanks,
go.
Joanne.
Mm-hmm.
I had forgot about that.
We always knew that the Father Kent and I could not continue to pray a daily rosary online in the same way, because there would just be the reality that we would have to go back to work. And so our hope was that we could help to establish the pattern in our families of praying the rosary more frequently. And I hope that's happened.
Yeah.
Father Kent and I will still continue to pray the rosary on Saturday.
As long as there's not a Mass at 5 o'clock. Mm-hmm. That was kind of the idea of the 5 o'clock rosary anyway, as a substitution for those that wanted to go to the 5 o'clock anticipatory Mass. That was kind of a placeholder for that too.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So
we'll plan to do a 5 o'clock-ish Mass on Saturday evenings, but not the Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Mm-hmm. To that point also, I mean, one of these days, it's true, the fireside chat will also end, at least the Monday through Friday version of the fireside chat. Mm-hmm. So we don't know when that'll happen, but we can't maintain this forever, and it does maintain a particular purpose. But we also want to know, if you have any thoughts about if we want to change directions, if there are things that you'd like us to do differently. I mean, this whole program has just basically been to be here for you when we are all lacking community, and we want to make sure that you know that Good Shepherd is here for you. It's one of the modes of communication to help get the word out of what's going on here. So that's part of the efforts. But we're now in the summertime and we're not in lockdown, even though we're still encouraged to stay in our homes and limit our interactions with other people physically. And try to maintain that 6 feet distance when we are with other people and all those aspects. But do you need fireside chat to be something a little bit different? Let us know. I do want to keep it relatively light. That would be something that I would see. Just kind of model a little bit on that John Krasinski, the Some Good News. I mean, there's plenty of bad news out there. We don't want to get too deep in talk talks about riots or anything like that. We want to keep, because you're getting plenty of that already. We want to be an uplifting.
Right.
That'd be kind of one of the basis of being community and being uplifting here in this time. I think is one of the
Right.
underlying principles I would say.
Yeah, certainly. So what we're saying is not that we're making any changes right now.
No, right.
Our current plan is to continue the fireside chat every single Monday through
Friday.
Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Our question right now is essentially, are we doing well? How can we do better? And in the future, as we look to the direction it will take fireside chat, what are you thinking would be helpful for you? I think those 3 questions.
It sounded like you said virus side chat, which is it?
Oh, fireside chat.
Virus side chat.
Welcome to the virus side chat. We're infectious.
I love it. Well played. So anyway, yeah, we're just always wanting to kind of continue to assess and make sure that we're meeting the needs that that you have and what you would like for this program to be. So,
So, please send, if you have any thoughts on what we could do in the future, please put it in the comments or email us. We would really appreciate the feedback.
Okay. Very good. All right, well, so thanks so much for tuning in today. I think that wraps up our episode here, and we got our fun meeting with all the priests here coming up in a few minutes. So
That's true.
we should be able to, at tomorrow's fireside chat, give you updates for that, I think. But we'll see how it goes. So,
Yep. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful day. We will see you tomorrow.
all righty.
We should have some sign-off thing. We should. We don't have one yet, though, so bye.
Keep...
And that's the way the crooked crumbles.
And that's the rest of the story.